Welcome to the Peter Degedo podcast, a somber podcast. We are about a week out from the Las Vegas Mandalay Bay Massacre. The narrative, of course, is coming apart at the seams. For any of you who don't know, I don't know how you couldn't know. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you've been to peterdegedo.com and seen all of the latest breaking news and updates on the investigation into the massacre last week in Las Vegas at the Harvest Festival. What a name, the Harvest Festival. The article of the day a few days ago, a week ago or so, really hit on that topic in particular of the occult and the elitists and the need of Satanists and Luciferians and pagans to have a harvest, a human sacrifice harvest before the end of the year, and we saw it in Las Vegas. Uh, for the latest updates on the Mandalay Bay Massacre, I would say that the best sources of information, other than of course peterdegedo.com, would be Infowars, their offshoot website News Wars, and who's really surprisingly come to the forefront of the most interesting and I think relevant and truthful information, not only Alex Jones, Infowars, and Paul Joseph Watson, but Mike Adams, the health ranger over at Natural News. In fact, it's interesting. I saw on Facebook before they before Facebook threw me off. That is, Peter Degedo is off of Facebook once again, banished, outlawed for I'm not exactly sure why, but it does seem that the Peter Degedo Facebook page profile seems to get shut down every couple of weeks, and so here we are again at the height of the narrative control by Google and Facebook and YouTube that Peter Degedo is off the Facebook airwaves. We'll see if this one is permanent or not. I've already had to reconstitute a Facebook profile, as the first one was permanently barred for nothing more than anyone else does. But nevertheless, that's the censorship is a side topic. I really like to try to stay focused on the Las Vegas situation. As we were led to believe at first that a lone nut, crazy white guy with a arsenal of weapons just snapped and took out hundreds of people at a country music concert. And it didn't take long for the narrative to start falling apart on that. The first thing is we'll go with the multiple shooters. You know, you can't fire in this day and age. This isn't 1995. This is 1985. Heck, this isn't 2005. The ubiquitous nature of cell phones, personal cameras, and recording devices. You now got acoustic experts. Thank you, naturalnews.com. Uh, you've got acoustic experts that are piecing different videos together at the same time and doing an analysis, and with or without a shadow of a doubt, identify two separate shooters from two different distances in two different locations. Now, why the government hasn't come out and just come out with the truth about that, we can only speculate at this point. There's the rumors going around that this is a sleeper cell situation, and the information, if released, could activate the sleeper cells, or the information released could compromise some of our intelligence gathering methodologies. People, deep cover. I can understand that. Is Trump being played? So that's why he's not telling us, the American people, the truth of Las Vegas. Do they not want to give ISIS the win here? Knowing that ISIS is getting beat badly They are nearly, if I think they are nearly, they are not quite totally been expelled out of Iraq, but they are just in, I believe, Western Anbar province, some areas basically over on the Syrian border, and in Syria they are getting crushed as well by both American and uh, Russian air power for sure, some Syrian air power. The American air power, from reports that I've seen, is it's been mixed of exactly where those bombs were falling. Now, under the Trump administration, those things, uh, it looks like that tide has definitely turned, not in ISIS's favor. So something like this, where a mass murder, mass casualty event, is what ISIS is looking for to bolster their reputation in the global jihad, because it would appear to me there, at least in the media that I have been seeing, and Peter Degedo does not rely simply on the Washington Post and the New York Times. I look at a wide and divergent view of news and views, analysis. Like I said, it's not looking good for ISIS internationally. Is there someone looking to replace them at some point? Oh, I guess we'll see where their funders are. Uh, the speculation, of course, is that the CIA has been funding ISIS and Al Qaeda for, of course, Al Qaeda for decades, ISIS for years. Um, oh boy, I'm sure that there are some elements in our government that are supporting ISIS. I don't think I can go out and say that it is the policy currently of this government to support radical Islam, but that is when you say it, you kind of almost have to, like, oh my goodness, Peter, that's quite a naive statement to say. I think I like would say the face of it publicly. Privately, again, there's mixed reports. It's the duplicitous nature of foreign policy. You wanna hedge your bets with people. You may support one side, but we know that that side isn't always going to be the victor, and so sometimes you wanna hedge your bets. Your friend of your enemy is, I mean, the enemy of your enemy is your friend. Well, sometimes the enemy of your enemy of your enemy becomes your enemy, and so does that make your original enemy your friend? That's the Middle East for you. The Middle East is a complete mental nutcase. Uh, it's just totally insane. My wife, Mrs. Degedo, has her theory. She's a studied anthropologist and archaeologist. She thinks the reason the Middle East is so damn crazy is because it's so damn hot. We live here in a very temperate climate here in the Northeast in the Great Lakes of North America. All right, we get cold winters, and the summers can be a little hot and muggy. But when it's hot and muggy, it's not the most friendly time here in our neck of the woods. And so I could only imagine if it was like that all the time. Have you seen the weather in like Dubai and these places? It's like 120 and 120% humidity. Just absolutely weather that would just drive you crazy. Literally drive you crazy. And that's what we're importing here. Complete nut jobs. Their brain's been fried from too much sun and hashish and whatever else they got going on there. But nevertheless, it is not a good idea for the United States of America to be importing folks from the Middle East, Muslim or not. How about that? How about we don't just say a Muslim ban? We just say a whole ban on people from certain areas of the world. How about a whole ban on everyone? A short moratorium on immigration to the United States of America while we figure out and hash out who we have here currently, from MS-13, Honduran and Guatemalan street gangs and ISIS and Al Qaeda. We don't even know who we have here, and we definitely need to get a grip on that. Oh boy, where was I? Las Vegas, huh? ISIS. Stephen Paddock. The Patsy? Stephen Paddock the Patsy? Is he a clandestine operator? If you've been reading peterdegedo.com, you've seen that this gentleman is quite an interesting character, to say the least. This gentleman has would appear to be an unlimited supply of cash. Um, a very private person, to say the least, a drunkard. That is the reports from his fellow gamblers who are in the scene with him. Um, this person had a pilot's license, two planes, of which both are very suspicious. One registered to a defense contracting company. I believe the other registration tail number is registered to another private plane in San Diego. This guy got fish heads just sitting in his coat pocket here. He smells fishy. There's just something not right about this guy. The brother, the brother is so I don't know. How could you describe the brother? Did he know? It sure seems like he knows more than letting on. Is he being fed information? He's just a very interesting character, to say the least. But on all these characters who are popping up in this show, interesting. Uh, the Paddock family, Mary Lou, the Filipino girlfriend who just happens to be out of the country during this time. Very interesting, to say the least. Why did he kill himself? Isn't that the word in the mainstream media, that he took his own life? If he had an arsenal of weaponry and willing to kill innocent people, why wasn't he willing to shoot police? Why wasn't he willing to have a last stand? How come he left all that ammonium nitrate in his car if he planned to have a suicide? Why was that there? Was it planted there to make him look like a terrorist? Did he have a larger cell with him? Did people chicken out? Was that the people in the crowd who were yelling 45 minutes ahead of time that everyone's going to die and they need to get out? ISIS says Mr. Paddock converted 6 months ago. Was it a real conversion? Was he sent by the FBI as a experienced drug or gun runner with those airplanes? And was he on a final mission, unbeknownst to him, to make a connection with ISIS, to run guns for them? Did the operation go sour? That was kind of my first thought, was this 64-year-old white guy, rich, living the life, two planes, goes on a shooting spree? And not just a shooting spree, an absolute war zone he created. Where would he learn how to create a war zone? I know some people who are experienced creating war zones. That's ISIS. That would lend credence to this whole ISIS conversion, Muslim Islamic conversion. Was the conversion real? Was it contrived? Was Stephen Paddock put up to this? Did the FBI have something on him? Was he being blackmailed? Only time will tell on the status of Mr. Paddock, his relationship with the FBI, the U.S. government in general, other illegal activities. You just can't spend that much money gambling on the sources of income that he had. It's an impossibility. So he was making money from somewhere. He was getting money funded from somewhere. And a lot longer than the 6 months that he converted to Islam. So during that period before the conversion, where was he getting his money? How was he supporting himself? How connected was he? Was just as simply a operation gone bad? He's a patsy, not even a patsy, just wrong undercover CI, the wrong place in the wrong time. They got a gun in his mouth, while other perpetrators fired the guns out of Mandalay Bay. and other locations around Las Vegas. Stay tuned for more on Las Vegas and the Mandalay Bay Massacre.